Well, we're live now, so I'm going to begin our introduction and welcome everybody, both in Zoom land and in Facebook land, to the launch of Days of Pure Light, an anthology of writing in tribute to Jessie Lendennie, who is the publisher of Salmon, a pioneering press that celebrates its 40th anniversary this year. The anthology, which is this beautiful book, was edited by myself, I'm Nessa O'Mahony, and Alan Hayes, and it was produced very beautifully by Siobhan Hutson of Salmon and published by Salmon. And somehow all of that done without Jessie Lendennie knowing a thing about it. It was the best kept secret in literature for a while. It features contributions by more than 100 writers who wanted to express their admiration for the extraordinary lifetime's achievement, work and devotion to good writing that Jessie exhibited. And on Twitter yesterday, Alva Smith, the very esteemed academic and feminist, said that she was delighted to see what sounds like a beautiful tribute to Jessie Lendennie, who has contributed so centrally to Irish writing and publishing for so long, a woman of steadfast soul, intelligence, and true grit. Mm. What a great statement, and how true and how typical of all of the comments that have been flooding in since we announced the publication and let the cat out of the bag. And it's proof of the great esteem and affection in which Jessie is held. For this live launch, we are joined by Jessie. Jessie's here, we're delighted to say, by Siobhan Hutson, by Alan Hayes, my co-editor, Eleanor Cummins from Salmon. And there are actually about 63 of the contributors from the anthology here in Zoom. We've been mingling and shouting at each other for the last 30 minutes before we went live on Facebook. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a reading of about 30 or so of the contributors, and hopefully at the end I'll be able to persuade Jessie to say a few words. So I'm going to call them up to read one by one in alphabetical order, and I'm going to ask everybody to keep their mics muted, except obviously for the person who I'm going to ask to read the poem. So the first reader is Mark Beggs.
Hello, hello Jessie, and I'm reading to you, of course, from your original homeland of Arkansas, and I'm very happy to be here. This poem is called Suspension. The birds are not socially isolating. The weather wears off like old glue. An invisible foe takes hold of our pulse to measure the beat of fear, to smell the hardening of our will. On Woodlawn Avenue, the house next to Temple Hall crumbles at the speed of mulch, feeding the aged dirt. It is a place to stand among wraiths and observe shadows cast from ash. We discuss the air as if snow were in the forecast, as if a breeze could push apart our hands. It is the sorrow of the ages inviting the bell to sing. It is the hum escaping our lips. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Next up is Helene Cordona.
Hi Nessa and Siobhan and Jessie and everyone. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm going to read a poem, which is going to be from my fourth book with Salmon Poetry. It's called Wind Spirit, in Jessie's spirit. Wind Spirit. I glide down all steps of the amphitheater, my own mother and father, spirit to source. The force of me comes from under the ocean, tsunami, all-encompassing. I travel from darkness to light, 1,001 shapes, water sucked into the oceans, into the heavens, dropped deep in the mind, inner fire, cleansed and nourished. Hold purity of thought, all is peaceful, the dream, a picture of psyche.
Thank you, well done, thanks so much. We're going to Australia next, to Anne Casey.
Huge congratulations, Jessie. It's a wonderful occasion. And thank you so much, Nessa, Alan, and Siobhan. This is so beautiful. My poem is a cento composed entirely of lines and line segments from Jessie's books, Daughter and Other Poems, and Walking Here, both published by Salmon Poetry. And so here is her wisdom of a life well lived. Suggestions for living a cento after Jessie Lendennie. Lay still, the sounds heard, the beginnings of comfort. Feel the sea on the wind, the falling of the wave right the horizon. And the waves recede beyond the cliffs, beyond the trees, rows upon rows, filling their long trailing sacks. In the darkness, the silence at the center of the wind, the sound of rain. In the dark, trace a circle around the willow. Time, the slowest of movements. Fine rain against thin glass, against hard stones, like so many broken children. Grow into gypsy, hobo, a child of rain. No water as it seeps from sky, from the heart. Know the sharp light of sun on bottles broken in the street. The horizon is both this path and the edge of the sea. And memory is a fracturing, a breaking of light and dark, with an old dog who knows all the secret places, down the unpaved road to the calm bay. Become part of something sacred, salmon in a small stream that rolled down to the beach, going home or starting out. Believe in past lives. Sit and wait for everyone to come home. Silver dogs in the sea unhindered, gazing down the valley to Liscannor, Lahinch and the bay. Walk the stones of Clahan. Romantic Ireland smells of soft wind. Move slowly among ghosts whose bodies are anywhere but here. Lose place, follow another pack, maybe take a wrong turn at the edge of the sea. As the last storm leaves again, lay still, the night moved past. Brush wonder as a child, fingers tapping at windows, reach out, softly moved. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anne. And if you've just joined us, we are having the live launch of the anthology Days of Clear Light, which is a celebration and a Festschrift in honor of the Salmon publisher, Jessie Lendennie, because it's the 40th anniversary of Salmon this year. And I'm Nessa O'Mahony, and I just realized I had forgotten to set the recording on the Zoom, which is why I am doing the repeat of the introduction. Thank you, Anne. Thank you. That's so much. Patrick Chapman, can I ask you up next?
Yep. Hello, everybody. I think this is a wonderful occasion, and it's testament to how Jessie is held in all of our hearts, that so many of us have turned out tonight to launch this Festschrift in honor of her 40 years. I'm just going to read a poem about new beginnings and old friends having fun, and it's not specifically about anything. The following year. We have come again to walk among the turners, and you say that I look well, that I look better than the last time. I was mauve and eggshell blue, a photocopy of myself, an impression left out in a window for years, a Louis Le Brocq portrait of a shrunken Bono's head, not gutsy like a bacon, no, just watery and hazy. You had worried that my face might shed the last of its papyrus, but look at me now, right as rain. This year, will we dance it instead? The Begin through interior twilight, from Reichenbach to Dorset. Oh, I do love a cataract, love a good coast. We might catch Moriarty tumbling from the one, splashing down off the other. Hello, is that Holmes? I swear I see a meerschaum bowl bobbing like a boy, or maybe not. We'd best avoid the other rooms in case of a Labrocky. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Next up is Rachel Coventry.
Hello. Congratulations to Jessie. It's great to be part of this and great to be a salmon poet. And thanks for all your hard work. And thank you to Nessa and Alan and Siobhan for making this happen. October. Let's celebrate on Friday. Let's get a takeaway coffee and walk the prom, or if it's raining, walk anyway. Celebrate our respective lovers, or perhaps by then the knowledge our hearts are still supple enough to recover from them. Celebrate our successes and failures. Celebrate the jobs we have and the ones we did not get. The children we put off then regretted not having or didn't, depending on the day. The dogs who died and the one who will sniff along beside us, busy in himself. The parents who fucked us up entirely, the siblings who never made sense. Let's celebrate ambitions met and those slipping away like summer, leaving us here shivering and alive in the cold, sweet grip of autumn.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks so much, Rachel. Eleanor Cummins, who's been doing an amazing job with the front display of the Salmon Bookshop, is up
Hi,
next.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Hello. So I'm just thrilled to be here and doing the window, and lovely to see all the poets, and thanks to all the poets who've helped me along the way by me basically catching them in the shop and saying, look, read this and help me. So congratulations, Jessie and Siobhan and everyone. So my poem is called Reading on the Lewis. You sit beside me on the Lewis, ask what's the book. I glance sideways. Travels with Charlie. You smile. I tell you it was written in 1962, but could have been written last week. You nod, satisfied. You are very old, but well put together. I imagine you have a wife who makes sure you have shiny shoes, well-pressed trousers, safe, secure, open to strangers on the tram. People listened to us, curious. We, a Beckett short. The train sliding silently along. Stations announced in Gaelic. A detached middle-class voice. Embarrassed to admit to the double Irish consciousness. Nothing like the sounds of Connemara. Ranelagh, Ranelagh. West Brit Dublin with a smatter of Gaelic. Split into those who know on the Daniel Day-Lewis, those who don't on the Jerry Lee Lewis. Sure, the Irish was bet into you, you say. But I reply, don't forget, you sneering Amadon. First it was beaten out of your granny. Sighing into the station, doors glide open. You rise, politely bow. The conversation in my head between my two selves silenced. I nod and watch you move on.
Well done. Thank you so much, Eleanor. Mary Dorsey is up next.
Hello, can you hear me? It's really exciting to be here and to see everyone. And thanks to all the people who got this together, to you, Nessa, Alan, Siobhan, and of course to our beloved Jessie. This is a short poem, Between the Shafts. I chose it partly because it mentions an animal. And we all know how Jessie loves animals, maybe even more than poets. And it's also to say that she has striven all these years to pull us up to the top of the hill and into the light. So between the shafts, I'm driven like a donkey by my gift, uphill and down, along rough roads and soft, striving, mind weighted by the unseen, to succeed at ordinary things, always failing, drawn like a mule, hoof after head, along iron tracks in winter, stumbling on the cobblestones, trembling into ditches, on the cliff edge by night, throat parched, voiceless. Sometimes at the season's turn, by a wild mountain stream, bathing, or it might be at dawn, breaking into song. At times, perhaps, getting up a canter. At others, a bright wind at my back, flying a few feet above the crowd. I am driven like a donkey by my gift, along hard roads and soft, goaded by the whip, enticed by a sheaf of straw, striving with half a will to succeed at ordinary things, never arriving, forever reaching.
Super, fantastic. Thank you so much, Mary. And just to let the people in the Zoom room, all 71 of us, know that there are currently 109 people over on Facebook watching this. So if we were all together in real time, we could fill Ennistimon Courthouse at the very least. So wonderful to know that we have a good audience out there, and there's a lot of love for Jessie and for everybody in Facebook right now. So it's great to see. Next on my list is Anne Fitzgerald.
Hi, Nessa. Hi, Jessie. Congratulations. And a huge, huge thank you to Siobhan, Nessa, and Alan. And great to be here with everybody this evening. INA to Eamon Linsky. The ophthalmologist bids me sit at her sultan, rest my chin and forehead within its frame. She moves in closer, shines a high beam into darkness beyond my cornea. Not unlike torchlight, policemen shine into the back of a refrigeration truck. Their lux and lumen wash over 39 pairs of eyes glistening like periwinkles, kept out of sight from Zagreb to Essex Waterglade Industrial Park. The eye doctor allows yellow drops dilate my pupils for a wider look, tucks 2 thin paper tapers below lower lids, measures tears. Half an hour on, eyes like bone-dry pebbles harbor my vision, where no tears flow, nor from a Monaghan driver's cargo of hopes for a better life, frozen to death, comes to a dead stop. Blepharitis, the ophthalmologist blurts, Greek for eyelid. Avoid hand rubbing, spreads inflammation as easy as traffickers seal deals with fasting spit to open palms. Somewhere, lorries are pulling up on laybys in sight of wildflowers that cannot hear butterfly wings. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much. We have another Fitzgerald now. It's John Fitzgerald.
Yes, hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jessie. Hi, Siobhan. So the poem in the book there is called Magus, which is the singular of the Magi, and it's appropriate, turns out, because today's January 6th, and it's traditionally known as the Epiphany. It's the day of the 3 wise men. And so it's actually an ekphrastic poem from the family of saltimbanques by Picasso. It's the same painting that Rilke was contemplating when he wrote the 5th elegy. So here we go, Magus. I would be one of the wanderers with heaven watching. Observe, you reflections. I glance away. Notice wonder spring forth its ancientness, steep the spell held in spices, hypnotized. In dreams, I descend 20 steps at a time. I'm afraid how I'll land if I fly too high. I try not to say I and claim myself, a sign of consciousness uncovering. Who calls me from such transience? We will ourselves into vastness, like children at graves, a wind with just one chance to blow, both toward and away from itself in surprise, or life is waste. There are shooting stars, then that which lingers, even hovers like a hawk, a halo. None can bear looking straight into the light. We see it reflect off the ocean by day, the moon at night. Imagine someone's sun fly away. What must it search for in its burning? Galaxies witness it bursting through silence. May it glow to the end in spite of where it finds itself. Let innocence cling to the universe, swirling, get high and go hungry, distill our minds till we can't control what pours from inside, and at heart remain addicts, ever humble. Thank you. So nice to see you all again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John. Next up is Phillip Freed. Phillip, are you there? I know you're in the list of participants, but any sign of Phillip? Tell you what, we'll come back to Phillip. He may just have stepped away from his desk at the moment. Anne-Marie Fife is hopefully there. She's next.
I am.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nessa, and thanks to Siobhan and Alan, and congratulations, Jessie. It's an amazing achievement. A Girl's Summer Bird Journal. An off-radar snow bunting's thud makes a sudden impression on kitchen window glass. There's a kiwi on the shoe-polished tin we can't open. They can't fly, they say. A honeyed light above St. Francis halos the non-specific songbird in a child's first prayer book. One day in May, I'm close enough to shudder at the milky cataract on a thrush's eye. In primary 4, we learned Odin's ravens are called thought and memory. They fly nightly across the whole known world to bring him news of faraway places. I tell Master Connolly our birds are called Joey and Bluey. A black corvid hunching his shoulders on the washing line pole blocks the midday sun, puts the whole back lane into shadow with one flappy wingspan. The schoolhouse roof corncrake disappears on the day we start Blue Book 3. I trace the old-fashioned painstaking letters from a yellow Swan Vestas matchbox, the smoker's match. In the end, we found the panicky wren behind the sheds, brass rakes, milk crates, paint tins, a steel toolbox. All August, I've been planning to pink rubber band my pen pal address to the pigeon's leg once she's on the mend. A kestrel swoops on our border collie time after time, then soars up and off into the blue yonder. My mother insists it all comes down to the one and only time she neglected to greet a lone magpie outside our cemetery. First a green bird, then a blue, both flown. After that, I leave open the cage door of the little birdhouse in my soul.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. We're over to Washington State next for Tess Gallagher.
Hello, I'm very honored to be a part of the occasion and to be included in Irish writing and Irish life, even as far away as I come and go. And Jessie, I'm so happy for everything you've given Irish writers and also American writers. Some of my dear friends, like Paula Ann Peterson, for instance. I'm going to read for you, and especially just a poem which reflects really what poetry is doing for us and the world, that it's full of magic and full of mystery. And this is a poem that is actually just a poem. It is 4 lines only. So in the spirit of Robert Bly, I will read it twice so that you can make sure that you get on board at least for the second 4 lines. I like koans because they make you feel the language at work, and you are inside the language. And it is not really that fluid, ordinary stuff of the day. It reveals its magic and its challenge. So this is the poem. It's called River. River. What keeps the water from being stopped by the rock? The rock keeps stepping over it. I'll read it again. River. What keeps the water from being stopped by the rock? The rock keeps stepping over it. Jessie, you are the rock. You have stepped over it. And I thank you. And we all thank you.
Beautifully said, Jet. Lovely to see you as ever.
Yes, you do.
Next on our list is Richard Halpern. Richard, you might want to unmute yourself.
Is that better? Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, Richard. Oh no.
How's that?
Fine.
All right, let's do it before it disappears. The poem is Richard Dalloway in Wisconsin. He is bringing his wife a bouquet of roses to tell her he is not good with words, but he loves her. He is walking past Lake Garth, across which, as a boy, I swam, my father rowing alongside me. Splinters of place, of time, as always with Virginia Woolf. Mr. Dalloway rushing home as St. Paul's chimes. I, buoyed up by water, love at my side in the only way he could express it. A marvelous university teacher, Marlies Danziger, encouraging me to splash around in such things. Thank you. Love to Jessie.
Thanks a lot, Richard. Next up is Kerry Hardy.
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Jessie, I'm very honored to be here, and I wanted to be here to thank you for blasting the gates open and letting all these us have all these wonderful voices that so many others have kept closed, and you did this for us all here. I wrote this poem as soon as Nessa asked me, so it's written in October, and it's for Jessie. World, world, for Jessie Lendennie. These days I pray to October, to light that is dying, the last of it clinging to leaves in the stillness. Tomorrow the leaves may be gone. I pray to the strumpet flare of the wild cherry up on the hill. I pray to the poplars, their soft golden leaves. I may be gone too, no one knows, no one knows. The world is a song that someone is singing, but who sings the song? Now the cherries are lain on their rumpled bed. The poplars have faded, the sun stretches out on the old heavy bones of the earth. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kerry. Rachel Hegarty is next.
Great. Thanks very much, Nessa, and thanks to Siobhan and to Alan. Fair play to you. There's a lot of graft gone on into this big secret You're very Irish, taking hold of whatever you say nothing. Well done to you. And hearty congratulations to Jessie. You are son woman for one woman, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate Women's Christmas. The Skyroad, a sonnet for Jessie. A girl once woke up in Blytheville. Cotton fields, lumber yards, and steel mills. But she heard Shawnee voices say, "Look up, take the Sky Road above Chickasaba." She left Arkansas for Ennis-Diamond. Herself, the kids, and the dogs. Dogs galore, walked on limestone and spied rare flowers. Cranesbill, bog orchid, and mountain avens. Yet she also caught a scent, a hunger for books, wonderful books stuffed with poems by folks, others with Shawnee-like voices. The woman made a home in Clare and made books, took some more walks, mapped the Atlantic's clouds, nodded towards a big sky, and journeyed on. Fair play to you, Jessie. Well done, congratulations. Thank you.
Super, thank you, Rachel. Kevin Higgins is next.
Hello, huge congrats to Jessie, first of all. I think it's an amazing achievement to have worked for so long with so many poets, and so far as we know, she hasn't killed one of them, or if she has, none of the bodies have been found, which in its way is equally impressive. So, and I include myself in that list of possibilities as well. So great to be here. This poem is one of a series I've written in the last couple of years, and it's called Conversation, and it's a conversation between the male and female within all of us, myself in this case. Conversation. Your shoulders fall softly, as if you're gazing down a hole to see if you can see water, or at least the bottom of the hole, in what might be yourself, but you can't make it out exactly. Perhaps you need new glasses. Times like this, you are soft as the snail you met yesterday, while it was slithering down your garden wall, minding its own business, and you stopped to touch very gently, and it stopped, its slithering as if to say, "Who the fuck is your man?" before going about its business, as you clicked open the lock on the garden gate to go about yours. 2 stones, one male, grey and absolute, telling the world, "Here I am. I can take any boot put down on me." The other is so white, smooth-faced, it looks almost soft. It's hidden inside, rigged with complications. If you trod on it barefoot on the beach, it could break and make you bleed, and you'd recoil like a snail going back into its shell. That's the risk, and you take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. We have many very important Higgins in this anthology, because you've just heard Kevin. The introduction is by our president, Michael D. Higgins, and we are now going to hear from the wonderful Rita Ann Higgins.
Thanks very much, Nessa. And it's very good to see everybody and people I haven't seen for a long time. And it's wonderful to be here with you, Jessie. And I'd like to just remember 2 people who are no longer with us, Anne Kennedy and Mary Dempsey. And just remembering that workshop back in the 80s, the early 80s, I used to think Mary Dempsey was the boss because she used to walk in and out of the two rooms. But little did I know you were the Baronchi. And actually, happy Nollaig na Mán to everybody. This is the poem. My left hand for Jessie. I'm writing this with my left hand, not for the novelty of it. I don't give good novelty. I'm right-handed, as you know, but some myalgia with the squeeze of malaise is making my right hand go dumb. It won't do simple things like comb my hair or scratch my arse. Frankly, it's not worth the effort, so I'm using my left hand. Jessie, across the years, I know your middle name is across the years. I've seen you take off and land in middling conditions. You rise above territory and tenses, and words fall all around you. I'm hiding too here between the lines. First word, 5 letters. It could work as a standalone if you add an S. It's not spank without the S, and really, let's not go there. Second word, 3 letters, and it's not dog spelt backwards. Not that you'd ever have any trouble with dog, with or without an S, however bold. Leastwise, that's what I'm told. Thank you for the friendship, Jessie. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Rita Ann. Next up, we have Eleanor Hooker.
Hi, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be included, and congratulations, Jessie. And great, you guys are people you could tell a secret to because this was pretty good. Congratulations, Nessa, Alan, and Siobhan. My poem is called Celera, from the Latin to leap. Celera for Jessie Lendennie. What is it we seek? The estuary to our natal stream? The return? Without a mariner's compass, sail, mast, or helmsman, we navigate by dream and sense, by memory. Weary of undercurrents, of deviant tides, we swim or die. We leap in the fall against all currency. Celera. Cold rivers rise, restless, as though to say, you have come this far, but not yet arrived. You have survived oceans of salt. Try again. Break surface here. Fresh water awaits you. The ground is prepared. Do it. Leap. And you arrive, swimming through an archive of the dead, road to the place of return and departure, where the waters rhyme. Thank you.
Well done, Eleanor. Thank you. I think we're staying in the Lendennie family now because Tim Jeanotte is going to read a poem.
Thank you, Nessa. Thanks very much. My poem is called Cuddle Dogs, which is a phrase that Jessie invented recently when she found herself without any dog companions after more than 30 years. And it led to a time of intense pining. Cuddle dogs look up at you. They read you, cocking their heads to let you know they know. When you reach your hand out in the dark, a cuddle dog will be there, a warm weight beside you. Cuddle dogs start out fast, running rings around you. Then they slow down as you've had to, padding along at your side or a little ahead, turning and looking to check you're still there.
Well done, Tim. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree at all, at all. Thank you so much for that. Phil Lynch is up next. Philip Lynch.
Thank you, Nessa, and thanks very much to yourself and Siobhan and Alan for putting all this together. And I'm delighted to be included. Delighted for the chance to say congrats to Jessie and to say thanks as well. Thank you very much. And these are my few words. It's called Words Play. My words are wagging their tails, long hanging tongues laughing at the world, pleased to be playing games, chasing shadows, straining leads, noses poking into all sorts. leaving marks. Ears pricked to detect the slightest nuance in sound. Bark at the ready. Beware of the bite.
There is a dog theme in our anthology. People might be noticing. Thomas Lynch is up next.
Thanks, Nessa, and thanks to you and Siobhan and Alan for the invitation to be and the honor to be among all these wonderful poets. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to say thank you to Jessie, who's been a friend for many years. When old farts get to be the age I am, we remember 30 years ago better than we remember 20 minutes ago, which is why this poem recalls something that happened back in the middle 80s. It's called Who's Counting? It's for Jessie Lendennie, editrix and publisher. It's more than 30 some odd years now, Jessie, since dozing on your sofa in the Claddagh, that low-ceilinged stone manse, ever a frenzy, like a river run of spawning salmon, mad anxious to replicate creation. Something out of nothing, as with magic, a rabbit yanked from out the empty hat, the disappearing coin that reappears, the Queen of Hearts in the suspicious deck. The gypsy beauty sawed, it seems, in half, just so you're bringing salmon poetry into being on a shoestring and a dream. You haven't yet awakened from it, Jess. 40 years gone blurring by. But then who's counting?
Terrific, thank you so much. As well as salmon poets, it was very important for us to include in the anthology representatives of the wider literary community, if I can call them that. I can and am. And one of those is our next reader, Tom Mccarthy. Tom, if you're there.
I'll unmute, will I? Can you hear me now?
And indeed,
Great.
thank you.
Great. Congratulations again on 40 years. Congratulations to Jessie and to all of those on that fantastic team who've launched all those books over the years. It's absolutely fantastic. Here's the poem, Butterfly Summer. It was while placing a slab of old red sandstone at my uncle's feet that I saw, hovering over a blaze of furs, the 3 rare species of blue butterfly, the silver-studded blue, the chalk-hill blue, and the brown argus with its blue fuselage. We took the summer off to find the little skipper on a clump of tar grass. With luck, you said. We are sure to find as well the delicate wood white, the Essex skipper, and its English friend, the clouded yellow. Rare enough they were among a million wings of painted ladies. Over 50 species we found that summer, migrants and stay-at-homes, fellows who might hop over to Ireland to say a brief hello, blown off the Irish Sea onto a picnic table at Enniskerry, Ireland's eye. It was when we were down to the last 3 butterflies of the British landmass that you broke away, without as much as a parting drink or a midnight argument. I saw in the tent we stole from Captain Mahon. I sulked because I knew the look you'd have once you went down to the sea, the look you always had in your seafaring, seeing mermaids and dolphins off the Azores, hearing the lost cry of the maid of Inchydonny as you rounded the Fastnet, seeing Peg's lost child playing with seals as you entered the Blasket Sound. I thought, my God, what luck, sure enough, as you rose from your berth to brew your licorice-thick Greek coffee, they fell out of the sky into your salty palm. The silver-spotted skipper, the Scotch argus, and the brown hair streak. I agree, It was the best time of year to see such butterflies. But for God's sake, your brief time on the Solent, your coordinates, your boat. Jessie, thank you very much.
Gorgeous stuff. Thank you, Tom. Ethna McKiernan is up next, if she's here. Is Ethna here? I don't see her name on the participants. Okay, we'll move on, and if Ethna turns up, we'll go back to her. Noel Monaghan is next on the list.
Hi, Jessie. My thanks to Nessa, Alan, and Siobhan for this wonderful production. Journey Upstream, for Jessie Lendennie, founder of Salmon Poetry. Never one for fad, fame, and fashion, you held your finger on the pulse of time, sniffed out the magic of verse. At home in your Zach and Zuki world of singing dogs, you created a new myth. Reconnected us with the salmon, brought us back in time to mountain berries dropping into a well, where Finn the boy burnt his thumb, sucked it better, and solved the mystery of the journey of souls, journey of salmon, journey of going home with an inimitable Jessie Lendennie chuckle. Thank you all.
Well done.
You know that chuckle well. Thanks, Noel. Edward O'Dwyer is next.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Nessa. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Siobhan, for all your work on this and for asking me to be a part of it. It's a huge honor to be a salmon poet, and thank you, Jessie, for all the work you've done and all that you continue to do. Congratulations. This poem is called All the Courage I Had, and it's dedicated to Knut Skinner. I saw her up ahead. I was certain it was her, though she was walking with her back to me, the hood of her raincoat over her head. I called up all the courage I had just to ask her. I even called up the courage I didn't know I had, because I was going to need it all, every last drop. She didn't seem overly anything, if you must know. I was a car that turned up and pulled into the side of the road when the rain was coming down, a car facing in the right direction. I would do until I didn't do. That was the impression. But yes is also yes. You just have to tell yourself that sometimes. She wasn't saying much, nor was I saying much. I'd used up all the courage I had, every last drop by that point. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you so much. If this was Gogglebox, I'd now be saying, over in Moycullen, it's Mary O'Malley. Mary, are you there? Well, that joke. Oh, you're there. You're there.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, Mary.
I'm here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't see you yet, but we can hear you.
I don't know why I can't see me. Just okay.
You were there for a minute. Did you want to try clicking your video again?
I can see you.
I can see you, Mary. I can see you, Mary. Yeah.
Hi, Alicia.
I can see you, Mary.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah, no, go for it. You're grand.
Yeah, I can see you. I see you.
Read
Maybe
your
you have to
poem.
pick something, Nessa.
No, but we can see you, Mary. So if you want to just read it now, the speaker view will come on to you.
But can you click the screen or something to fix this?
It is all right.
You're
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
you're-
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Norig na man hana Díomh go léir agus le Jessie. Jessie, I'm reading this poem because today is Epiphany, and God knows we all need an epiphany at this stage in the year. It's based on the Cherry Tree Carol. Just before I read it, I want to thank you for everything you've done. And like Rita Ann, I'm remembering people and Tom Lynch, including Rita Ann and Tom Lynch from, what, 30 years ago, including also Anne Kennedy. Fondly, but also remembering the launch of the very first Salmon magazine. That was a while back. Cherry Tree Carol. I called the kings, expecting faded colours, old cardboard men, jaded from expectation and travel. Instead, they whirled in the air, turbaned, young, rings flashing ruby and gold. In spite of what they know, they glowed before me for a minute or an hour. Centuries spooled around them, lures cast from a rod across the flat surface of the trembling elements. I called Mary, pregnant and homeless, in spite of what I know and how it ends. She came to give birth again in a shed warmed by the sharp stink of a wolf's breath, or the fug of cattle and ass. It wasn't the birth I wanted, but the story of this strange child in the womb that ordered a cherry tree to bow down low to my mother's knee, to satisfy her gravid craving and ours. In spite of the nails and the lumbering beast, the moon and the stars will sail under her feet, the masked moon and her icy stars. Sinead.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you.
Just waiting for.
Indeed.
Alison, lovely to see you.
Is Alice Petway there?
I am here.
Hello.
Hi. So first, I just want to say so much thank you to you, Nessa, and Alan and Siobhan for putting this wonderful book together. And of course, most of all, Jessie. Thank you for everything, for taking care of us as poets and people and getting our work out into the world. Thank you. The poem I'm going to read today is titled Solstice. Infusion of spruce tips and wild geranium, just bloomed yarrow. The sun hidden all day, a falcon fishing between the clouds. We watched her, all of us together, our longest selves, stretching into the shallow arc of the shadows. She never caught a fish. And still we watched, wanting to bear witness to the breaking of beak through flesh, the cracking open of a new season. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Alice. Stephen Powers is up next.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you very much, Nessa and Alan and Siobhan, for putting this book together. And also thank you very much to Jessie Lendennie for being the whole reason we're all together here in the first place. I'd like to read a poem called Galway Bay. And of course it is dedicated to Jessie, for Jessie. The house I grew up in now has 2 stories. I haven't been inside in 40 years. One day, I'll ask the owners for a look around. I want to see where they put the stairs. I walk around the house I live in now, hope to discover a door I'd not noticed that leads to a room we never knew. The new room brightens like curtains opening. We pull back the dust covers from the furniture, gather them, shake them outside, hurry in, because we are enamored with the surprise. Does a house feel? If so, I can't explain how it must feel when unknown rooms are discovered, or when a story is added. What happened to attics in that case? Are trunks and old photo albums moved elsewhere, or do you build the story around them? My favorite story to tell about this was in the Claddagh, Upper Fairhill Road, Auburn House, dark and empty under renovation for a second-story addition. I was invited to look in the window, where I imagined the place under a spell, modest outside, spacious and airy as a manor when you enter, perfect view of the bay upstairs, waiting for floral drapes to part. And I wrote that poem because my favorite memory with Jessie is when we were on our way from Galway back to Knockhaven one night many years ago after I did a reading at the Crane Bar. Jessie said, I want to show you my old house. We went by it. It was dark, empty under renovation. She said, let's go look in the windows. And so we did. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks so much. Liz Quirk.
Oh, yep.
Hi, Liz.
How's it going?
Very good.
Okay. This poem was written after one of the, I think it was the Rowan Tree readings that Eleanor Hooker was organising. It was one with Anne Casey reading and a load of music and crack. This is kind of an odyssey poem with myself and my nephew in it. And it's called Vaya con Dios for Mikey. And there's an epigraph from Kate O'Brien's As Music and Splendour. Vaya con Dios, she said, but Claire knew now, as she had not 4 years ago, that this is what the Spaniards say. A Thursday between here and after, we venture towards a session in Spanish Point. My father, your grandfather, suspended ill, isn't anywhere, isn't even dead. So in his name tonight, I put miles between my car and Killimer's ferry dock, grasp the invite to join the kind-eyed boys and you, and we chase cold pints and assembly along Clare's tattered coast. This second summer, you've set your anchor to drag the river where I send all my words to swim. At Ennistimon, on the banks of the Ina, we begin, my sister's second son and I, to churn up such mischief as will bridge the decade I've waited for this company. Composed, all 6 foot plus, at the back of Salmon's weekday theatre, you wait, bear respectful witness to the friendships a poetic life can forge. After, we thaw in Lynch's shamrock, grow warmer still at the 19th. You translate what you know of your prodigal aunt into who you see in this bar. And I understand I can't boast traction in the story from your hand, no little beyond your babyhood and snippets doled out across the distance. But as Duarte saw the soul shore split in Kate O'Brien's Clare, for years I've seen how heart-stark scrutiny can fail to tether a body. You tell me you have come of age alongside rivers, the Lee, Shannon, Lobregated Besos, and onwards now to the Ina. And brave in this late hour, you ease towards memories of my own, how I knew, when I told, how it all transpired, who said what and when. I arm you with keepsakes from my travels, souvenirs of leaving and returning. Show you, nephew, that our lives don't have to look so different from the rest. At the Armada, Willie Clancy is in his afters, and a bouncer caught by a light quick trick sends me to dive, delighted, deep into the swell of my purse. I surface, haul a squall-torn license, confront a likeness from my tough days of being asked and telling. And then all around us is carnival as the singers blast out the Rose of Tralee. We reel and jig through talk of your grandfather, my father, make promises that we will have more nights like this, safe from all that is approaching us in the dark. Sinead. Congratulations, Jessie.
Well done. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thanks, Liz. Over to Bertha Rogers.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that one of the things that I noticed most about Salmon was the real community of writers. From the first time I met Salmon poets at AWP, along with Jessie, of course, it was a wonderful, warm feeling, and I've kept that feeling ever since. I appreciated Jessie especially. And thank you, Nessa and Alan and Siobhan, for putting together this wonderful tribute to Jessie. The poem I'm going to read is called Poet on the Cliffs of Moher, with gratitude to Jessie. She walks the sea cliffs, palms winding, following unweighted sea breeze, traveling with wide wings. Words come to her on blue wind, white clouds, birds migrating, fog songs. Earth stone burrows here, but new poems grow, from her hands they bloom. She names them flowers, calls them butterflies, birds blossoming, petals turning like pages in the boundless book of words. She is the nest, the refuge of runes. Poems come to her, they flutter and perch. They stop at her open hands, pleased to be found. Thanks, Jessie.
Thanks, Bertha. I'm sorry, I loved that goggle box gag so much, I'm going to do it again. Meanwhile, just outside Kenmare, it's John W. Texton.
Hello. Jessie, you are a fabulous hero. So I'm going to read a poem, another hero, not a hero worries and is a Syrian astronaut. This is also a poem of epiphany, the sight of everything. Was he but 10 when he saw the hooded bulbuls in the fig tree, the garden loud with their noise? They were bright and free between the lobed leaves, flittering and present, there and then gone. The garden was theirs to have, and so was the sky. Was it in the deep Aleppo nights of his childhood that he first scratched his eyes on the stars? Years later, from his round window in Mur, he could see the whole world below him. Not a border beheld, not a sign that said country. From there, Syria had no beginning or end, but was part of everything he could look down on. When he came back from his sojourn in space, from those 7 days, 23 hours and 5 minutes, a school, an airport, roads were named after him. He became a larger part of Syria, but not of the Syria he'd seen from space. That distant Syria that was beyond borders, beyond even a name. He was installed at the Air Force College, a mentor to fighter pilots. He had become a caged bulbul. In August 2012, after 25 years in his Air Force cage, he drove with his family over the border and into Turkey, none of which he had ever seen from above, for from there, the world was just the world. He abides in his exile, a refugee, grounded for now. But he has seen the bulbuls take the garden as their own, and his eyes have been scratched with the stars, and he can see through the borders of men. Jessie, we all love you.
Too true. Thank you, John. Now, next on the list is Janice Fitzpatrick Simmons. Janice, have you sorted your audio out? We had said that I'd read the poem for Janice if she couldn't read it, but I'm hoping she can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Perfect, Janice.
Oh, yay. I have a voice. Jessie, congratulations, dear friend. I'm going to choke up. I don't want to. Okay. The poem is called Cuan Solis Narilcha, Harbor of Starlight. In this lockdown wish, a walk by the harbor of my heart. Maharorte is across the way from the solitary dock. I walk in morning, sun just rising, water a dark teal in sunlight, sound of seabirds still it is not quite time yet. Hold on a minute. For them to raise their varied voices. To me, a sound of yearning. I walk along the back strand toward the river where green gives way to pewter. I make my way to the bench that gives me a galley view of Atlantic, Rye River, the distant mountains of familiar shapes. In this version of the story, it is you who I have arranged to meet here, conjured into taking it all in together. The teal ocean water, the silver river, where a salmon fisherman has joined us on the bend where the ocean meets river water. There is a glint of moving salmon. I think of words never realized, how they rise and fall, move again to that place where they were formed. Thanks. Congratulations, Jessie.
Fabulous, Janice. And you're reminding me, because the first time that I met you, it was 1995 in the Poets' House, but that was also the first time I met the great Jean Valentine, who we lost last week, and who was another salmon poet. So it's lovely to have the opportunity to remember her and her work, as well as to hear your lovely poems. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Joe Slade is the next on the list.
There we go. Hi, Nessa and Siobhan and Alan, thank you so much for this wonderful tribute to Jessie. You've put in a heap of work and it's just beautiful. I want to, Jess knows how far we go back, so I won't say anything about that. Maman is a poem I've written for Jess. It's dedicated to her. It's in this book as a dedication. It is a book really dedicated to all women and all children. And I thought on this day, it was a good day to give it an airing. It's called Maman after Louise Bourgeois' Spiders, which a lot of you may be familiar with. I'm a sculptor betimes and a painter myself, and I have a really deep love of Louise Bourgeois' mind and her work. She looked on spiders as being clever, patient, comforting, kind, precise, and incredibly complex. Maman for Jess. Birds without nests wander the roofs of women-only houses. TVs color their feathers gold when light reflects up from rooms with children. Children are angels without a heaven. They used to be robins. We could speak with them. They were brave and curious. They laid eggs in our palms, blue ovals like planets. When terror came, they hid in derelict churches. Mothers wove masks from waste plastic. Fledglings were born, mouths crusted with trichomoniasis. When storms raged and earth burned, they flew above the sludge. Mothers stood in the singe, holding the world's detritus. Balanced above the trash, a spider who strayed from the world was weaving invisibly the unspeakable words. East swept west into the ocean. It is night when I look up. Moons comfort me, embryo planets that drift in wombs of light. Women and children raised into the stratosphere, incandescent orbs of love. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Joe. Beautiful. Gerard Smyth is only about 3 miles up the road from me, but sure, he might as well be 300 the way things are at the moment. Gerard, do you want to read your poem?
Sure. Thanks, Nessa, and thanks to Siobhan and Alan. Hi, Jessie. Congratulations. I hope you come out from behind your usual modesty to bask in the moment. Some years ago, you promised us a memoir and had a prospective title, To Dance Beneath the Diamond Skies. Well, I hope it's still a work in progress, or whether or not, you certainly added much sparkle to the diamond skies of Irish poetry. And I think you'll see the connection between your memoir title and the first section of this two-part poem. Two for Jessie. One, American Troubadour. When the show was over, the man who shouted Judas disappeared. But what he said was written into the annals. The troubadour went on, covering his tracks so that no one could catch him by collar or cuff. No pause for rest, harmonica hanging from his neck. One hand on the Bible, the other deciding between Shakespeare, Homer, Leaves of Grass. Southbound, northbound, bound to his purpose, the climb to Parnassus. Harder to reach than Louisiana, Tulsa, Kansas. Sometimes he calls himself Jack Frost, gets caught in the spin of words from his loom, saying under his breath, be honest with me, I'll be honest with you. Close up, the half smile shows its cracks. On stage, it sometimes falls from his mask. 2, Kerouac. Kerouac said he saw his visions in newsreel grey, his scenes from boyhood, a lost brother who stayed in his dreams, his own shadow running at speed on a football field, where he became a hero in the league. Nothing could stop his dance to the rhythms, the beats of typewriter jazz. Kerouac said that leaving a childhood house was a catastrophe of the heart, and he knew about that. So many addresses between Moody Street and Ozone Park. He worshipped Thomas Wolfe and Lester Young, the bebop he heard in Harlem clubs. Like an outlaw on the run, he took the open road, followed the long white line to his heaven of the mind. Mexican sunlight, a bottle of Skid Row wine. Well done and everything, Jessie. Keep on.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks so much. Well, officially the last name on the list is Anne Tannum.
Thanks a million, Siobhan. Siobhan, thanks a million, Nessa. It's just been wonderful. Jessie, just thank you so much for everything that you do for us. And Nessa and Siobhan and Alan, amazing work that you did on this anthology. It really is beautiful and a privilege to be part of it. Chatting with Jessie earlier in the summer, there are 3 subjects that always come up with Jessie: poetry, the Salmon family, and dogs. And I'm sure there's lots of that sprinkled throughout the anthology. And this poem, there's dogs in this poem. We were chatting briefly about where did that relationship come from, this amazing relationship between humans and dogs. So this is called Boundless. It starts with a quote from Lear. "O reason, not the need. Our basest beggars are in the poorest things superfluous. They discovered me buried beneath 2 humans. The place where we lay guarded by basalt blocks, sprayed red with hematite, to keep out scavengers hungry to strip our carbon-dated bones white clean. Oh, the speculation when we were discovered, perplexed faces hovering above us, scientific minds grappling with what they'd found. Was I the first of my kind? Canis lupus familiaris, my wild lupine ancestors roaming the earth 1,000 score years before.
What purpose did I serve those that lay beside me? I, who died so young of canine distemper, unable to hunt, to scavenge, what good was I to him, to her, to them? Oh, foolish questions, foolish minds. Have you never sat close to a fire, watched sparks rise into the blue-black, star-blessed sky, the rustling forest briefly silenced, your hand stroking the soft belly of the sleeping animal by your side? Happy anniversary to Salmon and Jessie. Thanks so much for allowing me to be part of the Salmon family.
Yay. Thanks so much. Thank you, Anne. It's kind of the late stage of a wedding when you decide you're going to try and ask your favorite uncle up for a dance. And I'm wondering whether I could persuade Michael Longley to read his lovely poem, Embroidery, by any chance, the poem that's in the anthology. Do we have a hope, Michael? You're on mute at the moment, by the way, so you would have to unmute yourself. Have I thrown the Longleys into disarray? No. Well, he might come back. That's the official part of the program. We did, as I said, want to see whether we could persuade Jessie to say a few words. Alan Hayes, my co-editor, is also here, so I'm wondering whether he might like to say a couple of things as well. But let's see if we can get Jessie to say something.
Siobhan.
Siobhan.
Before Jessie speaks, I just wanted to say how important this book is, and it's something I've thought about for many years. That we cannot let this occasion go by without producing this for Jessie. And I also think we're going to start up a new family tradition of whenever she has a moment of self-doubt or whatever, we'll just reach for the book and go, you know, look at this. And
whack me with it.
No, it won't hit you with it, but just to remind you, you know, of how highly you're held in people's minds and hearts. I also want to say it would have been extremely difficult for me to do it on my own and without Nessa and Alan's amazing work and such enthusiasm and support and positivity and hard work. So thank you so much, both of you, for that. I also just wanted to say that this is probably the first in a series of things that we're hoping to do for our 40th year in 2021. So stay tuned. There'll be more coming down the line. But thanks everybody, all the contributors and the poets who unfortunately we couldn't all fit everybody in, but the whole Salmon family will be celebrated throughout the year. So thank you everybody for this amazing evening, this amazing book, and over to Jessie.
No, I guess I'm all I'm kind of all cried out. So yeah, thanks. Thank you, Siobhan. Needless to say, what would the books be without you? I know she never believes me when I say that, but Nessa, my beautiful Nessa, thank you. And I would publish you even if you didn't have a dog. Do you know, I have to say, I think it was Mark Beggs who made the observation. If you were talking percentages and Salmon poets, you know, there might be a kind of leaning toward the canine, but you know, I'm not bound by it. I'm not bound by it. But I mean, who wouldn't be proud? You know, I mean, it's like, you know, I'm a different I mean, you know, I have to think of myself as a different person to see how terrific this all is. in that, but of course, what's terrific about a publisher, what? The books. What's terrific, you know, the authors. What's terrific about a poetry press? The poets. I mean, we wouldn't be, you know, what, yeah, who the, you know, who am I, like, you know, but but it's just anyone in the world, any poetry publisher in the world would be so proud, you know, so proud of you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poets. And poetry was the only thing that really saved me when after my mother died when I was 14. And it's been extreme, it's been crucial to me my whole life. And even, you know, before my mother died, you know, I was dashing off little bits. But, and this is my life, you know, I'm getting old, but, you know, this is my life. And you could say that poetry has been my life and my family, of course, and that includes the dogs, and it includes everything that's sort of good in the world that is expressed in poetry. And I firmly believe that's the only thing that will save us. And how many poets are marching on the Capitol at the moment? I don't know, you know, a couple. But anyway, yes, proud, really, 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 really proud. And I can sort of just shuffle off the old mortal coil and, you know, and that will have been something. But for Jared, for Jerry, I'm going to do the memoir. Jerry, I am. I'll do it for you. And like, yeah, just, you know, thank you so much. You know, it's been rocky. Last year was rocky, and I'm behind. I'm always behind. That's another thing I talk about. So, you know, we're kind of with books that we had to postpone, and that's been difficult. And I've gotten a couple of angry emails, but that's okay. It's okay. But we go on. We go on. Thank you so much.
And you can't shuffle off because we're already planning the 50th anniversary. Oh, sorry, that was a surprise. Jessie, thank you so much. Alan Hayes, do you want to say a few words before we wind this up? Alan might be watching CNN and may have left.
No, I'm here.
You're here.
I just wanted to say that it was such an honor to work on this book. We started talking about it in August, and it just shows the affection and respect that there was for Jessie and Salmon, that it was possible to compile a book from start to scratch from start to finish in 4 months. And I was telling Jessie earlier when she rang, the book could be 4 times the size that it is. You know, there's no shortage of people who wanted to pay tribute. And you know, I have a policy that for the younger generation of writers or publishers or editors or activists, that we need to pay tribute to the people who've come before us, who opened the doors. And Jessie is one of the most important people in Irish literature. So it was a real honor to work on the book, to work with Nessa and Siobhan over the last few months. There's 115 people in this book, and what we have here is just a proof copy. The final copies will be coming in a few days, and when everybody starts to sees the book, you'll realize just the vast quality of work associated with Jessie and Salmon, and that's been a real joy and privilege to see. When we started discussing, you know, how to celebrate the 40th, Siobhan and myself and Nessa had lots of plans, and as Siobhan hinted, there's going to be quite a few very exciting things happening this year. Siobhan can give more details very, very soon, but one of the plans, because there's such a vast amount of people who Jessie has published over 40 years, and obviously we have a very energetic literary community in Ireland and internationally. So the plan is that there will be multiple events, online and then hopefully physical events as the year goes by. So this is the first. The next event will actually be in London over the next few weeks. Date to be confirmed. Not physically, fortunately, but virtually in London with the very prestigious Irish Literary Society. And it will be Salmon's first event at the Irish Literary Society, the organisation that was founded by W.B. Yeats and Maud Gonne and Douglas Hyde in 1893. So we'll be looking forward to that. So anyway, a huge congratulations to Jessie, and we look forward to a magical year.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much. So we're going to end the Facebook part of the evening now. Thank you so much to everybody in Facebook land who stayed away from CNN long enough to watch this amazing evening of poetry. I'm seeing the comments and knowing that so many people enjoyed it. And Jessie's going to have great fun later just reading back through those comments. There's so much love and admiration for you over there. So thank you again. And it was lovely sharing this evening with you.